Hi there, Chris here from Riders of the Cosmic Serpent with a battle report for you today with Eldar versus Imperial Guard, playing Vanguard Strike and Discouraging. Here's the table setup. The objectives were placed fairly liberally around the table, mostly concentrated, I guess, in the center. And the Imperial Guard deploy to the bottom of the table, or the bottom of how you view it. And so for the Imperial Guard, he brought in a group of Sentinels, which are going to be a scoring unit in this mission. And he's got a bunch of Chimeras, 2 Leman Russes. One of them is the Exterminator, and another unit of Sentinels and a bunch of Chimeras. No Hellhounds or anything like that. And the 2 Basilisks in the back are proxied as the Mortars, the Griffins. Jeez. And then so for my deployment, I only deployed 2 Wave Serpents. And inside the Wave Serpents are a unit of Dire Avengers, and one has an Autarch, and this one is a unit of Dire Avengers and the Farseer. And so I deploy, try to hide in there as much as possible, as I'm trying to rely on that 2 or better reserve roll from the Autarch. So the Autarch has to survive for me to have a decent chance of taking out the Imperial Guard Steel Legion. And so as you can see here, I'm trying to grasp as much cover as possible, as I really don't want to get shot at, because these tanks hit hard and he's got a ton of shots. So Imperial Guard take the first turn. I did not try and seize the initiative, as I would have preferred to go second, and so as it allowed me to try and seize the objectives at the end. And so as you can see, he moves his entire battle line up, and because in this mission the Sentinels are a scoring unit, so he's going to hang on to that objective over there, and then hang on to the other objective inside that ruined building to the bottom of the screen. And so we move into the shooting phase, and the Sentinels here take a couple shots at this Wave Serpent and don't manage to do anything. These multi-lasers from the Chimeras take shots at them, and so the heavy weapons crew inside shoot, and they manage to take a hull point off that Wave Serpent. The Griffins fire, and I believe they manage to stun it as well. Or no, yeah. And so the rest of the Imperial Guard shots, they all fire, and a lot of them miss because they move, they fire the ordnance, and then they only get the snap fire, and so it's not terribly effective. He tries to line up a shot over there, and he completely fails to do any damage. And so Imperial Guard first turn, not terribly effective, but you know, could have been a lot worse. And so for the Eldar, we move out, try and bright lance one of these Chimeras advancing on me, because there's Steel Legion units inside, and that Wave Serpent is going to eyeball up his commander. His HQ is inside that Leman Russ Exterminator, just so that it's got really good shots. And so the bright lance hits that turret and manages to knock that turret off that Chimera, and this Wave Serpent manages to hit this Leman Russ, and I believe only manages to shake it, I believe. I'm pretty sure. And so an Imperial Guard turn. The Sentinels advance. The rest of the Chimeras advance. Leman Russes, everybody's advancing into me. Holy moly. And so the Sentinels change the positions, getting ready. And so not too much is moving around, because he knows that I have reserves coming in pretty soon. And so he's trying to watch how he's spacing out and everything like that. Now the Griffins managed to knock out the Wave Serpent. Or no, sorry, the Leman Russ hits the Wave Serpent and knocks it out. And then so I take 2 loss from the explosion. He pops smoke on a bunch of his other vehicles. And then the Griffins fire and kill the rest of the Dire Avengers, and the Autarch manages to survive. And so the rest of the vehicles all pop smoke as well, because he knows the reserves are coming in. He's trying to watch his back because he doesn't want to get strafed too hard. And so here we go into Eldar turn 2. And so the Autarch manages to make all the reserve rolls, and the Warlord trait was the re-roll reserve rolls, and I needed this first turn coming in, and I managed to get all my flyers in. That's 3 Phoenixes and 3 Nightwings, and I managed to get them all because you know, rolling 3 or better, re-rolling, which should have been 2 better, but because I had the Imperial Guard player had the opposite strategic trait, which is -1 to your reserve roll. And so luckily I got all my planes in, and they managed to start knocking out chimeras, knock out, I think, one of the Leman Russes, knock out that chimera, sends out all the troops scattering out of that vehicle. I think he lost 2 or 3, I think, from the explosion, and we managed to knock out the last weapon off that sentinel and destroy 2 of the other sentinels from the phoenixes. And so it was a fairly effective first turn of shooting. As the flyers came in, the Wave Serpent tried to pop shot another at the Commander Leman Russ. And so we move into Imperial Guard turn 3. And so he advances real quick, and he's going to try and snap fire a bunch of shots into planes. That Leman Russ gets into position. These guys try and hold on to that objective, hunker down in behind those sandbags. The Sentinels try to line up, get some shots at those Nightwings. Griffins will continue to target the Wave Serpent. That squad will advance and try and take that objective. And the Sentinel, because he's still scoring and everything like that, he still stays with the objective because, well, because he can. He's going to take it, right? So why move when he could still hang on to that objective, get some score, and, you know, basically make a bad day of everything. And so he pops smoke on that Leman Russ. The Griffins fire, and they, I think, only managed to knock off a structure point. Oh no, they knocked off the Autarch, yeah, and they took off a structure point off the Wave Serpent as well, which was kind of crappy. But the Autarch did his job, and so everything was okie dokie there. And so that Nightwing braces, evades, and that other Nightwing evades. This Phoenix decided not to, and he ends up taking a hit, and so he loses a structure point. And that's from all these shooting from all these units, all these multi-lasers, and the Imperial Guard squads, they had, I do believe, heavy bolters and grenade launchers as well, and he was firing grenades. And so he was pretty good in his shooting. He didn't manage to hurt the Nightwings, but he made them evade, and that's really, really important, because they're very effective against armored targets, and making them having to choose from snapfire is very effective. And so this Wave Serpent advances out 12 inches. He's going to get ready. Phoenix Void Dragon advances there. These Phoenix Bombers head him behind the Griffin lines. And so the rest of the Nightwings get in behind the Leman Russes and the Chimeras. We're going to ignore the Sentinels for the most part this turn, I do believe. And we're going to go for that Commander tank because we need that Kill the Warlord, because the Imperial Guard player is already up on me on the Kill the Warlord. And so Void Dragon massacres all those infantry. That Void Dragon, or Phoenix, destroys the one Griffin. The other one takes a hull point off of it. Nightwing destroys one of the Leman Russes, and the other Nightwings aren't terribly effective as they were snap firing most of their shots. As you can see, those Sentinels managed to survive, and basically nothing happened to them. And the Wave Serpent flat outs in behind them like so, just so we can get into position, because we're going to go for that number 4 objective, as that's the more valuable target to go for. So Imperial Guard player, turn 4. Sentinel's still sitting there. He's got no weapon. There's still a bunch of guys sitting in that Chimera, and those Imperial Guards are just sitting there trying to get him line up some better shots. He moves that Griffin to target the Wave Serpent, and he uses the Sentinels to back into the building so that he's trying to grab some cover and not get himself blown up. And so he ends up targeting everything he possibly can at the ELDAR. And the Wave Serpent survives, and the shots end up scattering wide. Las cannons into that Nightwing. He ends up making it go into evasion, which, you know, is kind of crappy because, again, it's going to be snap firing again. That Leman Russ fires into this Nightwing and doesn't manage to do anything. And that Chimera shoots into that Void Dragon, trying to take it out, and he manages to do a structure point off it. And so everybody inside that Chimera doesn't manage to do anything. And so, again, it's not terribly effective. It's not looking too good for the Imperial Guard. So ELDAR Turn 4, Phoenix Bomber targets the Sentinels. Wave Serpent targets that Chimera. Dire Avengers hop out. Nightwing and Phoenixes target that Chimera. These two evaded Nightwings target that last Sentinel. Try and take that out. Hopefully both of them can do it. Oh no, I think the Wave Serpent is also targeting that Griffin, I think, as well. If I do remember correctly. And so the Nightwings don't manage to do anything against that Sentinel. The Phoenix manages to destroy the Sentinel, or the Chimera, excuse me, and they end up destroying a bit of the unit, and they end up running. That Chimera ends up getting destroyed, and so the Imperial Guard have to get out of that one. And this Phoenix, I do believe, doesn't... Oh yeah, he managed to do one structure point to a Sentinel, and I think the rest of them made all their saves, their cover saves, and so it was really kind of disheartening, and just trying to dig these little robots out of that building is just really a lot of work. Just a complete pain. And so he ends up rallying that unit, and he's going to try and take some shots with some grenades. That unit's still sitting inside that Chimera. That Griffin's still okay. He's going to try and make another shot. Those guys fan out a bit, and that Lehman Russ is going to move up and try and target that bomber, as he really needs to try and take these bombers out, as the bombers are very effective against ground targets. And so that Sentinel pops smoke because it can't do anything else, and those Imperial Guard match that objective. Lehman Russ here takes his shots, manages to do a structure point, and makes the Phoenix go to evade. And the Griffin manages to do a couple of those Dire Avengers in from a mortar round, but doesn't hurt the other one. And I believe the Sentinels took all their shots at the Phoenix bomber, and they made it evade because he managed to score one hit and just couldn't take that chance on that one last cannon hit, getting to roll, so had to evade. So the Wave Serpent targets the Land Raider. Phoenixes target the infantry. Those two Nightwings target the Griffin. This Phoenix is going to target that Sentinel, and that Phoenix is going to target the infantry. And as you can see, the ELDAR Flyers are very effective in 6th edition, as we have Vector Dancer, and so we're not leaving the table very often, and so it's very, very maneuverable. That Phoenix is very ineffective against all those infantry. This Phoenix manages to destroy that last Sentinel. The Nightwings manage to destroy the last Griffin, and that Nightwing manages to destroy his Sentinel, and I believe it crippled another one. Might have knocked off a weapon, I believe. The Dire Avengers shooting into the Imperial Guard managed to kill a few, and that Phoenix, I believe, shot into them and completely kind of failed a bunch of those rolls. And the Wave Serpent managed to destroy the Lehman Russ. And so on to Imperial Guard turn 6. And so here we are. And so if the game had ended, the Imperial Guard would have won with about 7 points to my, I think, 3. And so now it's not looking so good. He's going to make a move now. He's going to grab as many objectives as possible, or hold on and try and force some more evasion tests. And so it's not looking too great. So that Chimera takes shots, both it and the unit inside take a shot, and they don't manage to cause any damage. Those Imperial Guard target the Dire Avengers and don't manage to kill any of them. The Sentinels inside the building don't manage to do any damage, and so it's not looking good. Goes into ELDAR turn 6. So Farseer and what's left of the Dire Avengers advance into the Imperial Guard. 2 Nightwings firing into these Sentinels on the side here. And this Wave Serpent advances up. He's going to spray them with the guns. That Phoenix turns around. He's going to fire into the unit. That Phoenix is going to hit that Chimera. And the Nightwing is going to fire into those Imperial Guardmen. And with the combined might of the Wave Serpent and the Nightwing on the upper corner, they managed to do that one squad in right there. And so that Phoenix manages to destroy that Chimera. And the squad end up taking a bunch of wounds, failing the morale check, and ran off the table. This unit was massacred, but they're still hanging in there. They passed their morale check, and the Nightwings manage to destroy all the Sentinels. And so now it's not looking very good for the Imperial Guard player at all, as he's only holding on to a 4-point objective. And so that's it. And so we roll, we end up with a turn 7, but we determine that with those 3 guys hanging on to that objective, turn 7, all the dive rangers have to do is go up, charge in, well, shoot and then charge in, and with all the flyers able to concentrate fire into them, we would destroy them no problem. And so the game ends with all the flyers flying around, 1 troop. I don't recall what the score is. You'll have to tell me because I wasn't keeping track. But either way, the Eldar win.